I've talked a lot before about the importance of inviting students to share their experiences at school and really centering students in all that we do, all the decisions we make. But how exactly do we get students to share that experience, in addition to really building the foundation and making sure that students trust us enough to be honest, right? That's a terrifying thing, to be honest with your leaders, to be like, you know what, adults, this isn't going well. So how do we do that? Once we've built that foundation, what does it literally look like to invite students in a structure that enables them to share? So we're gonna do a 4-part series. This is video 1. And in this one, we are inviting everyone that's listening to take a walk with us on a learning walk protocol. So this is a way to invite students to share their experiences and also co-create change in the future. Learning walk. Here's literally what I would do. I would gather everyone together, students and adults. So maybe some educators from different departments or grade teams, some students from those different grades also, and maybe an instructional coach or a principal, some sort of leader. Get everyone together. I also think it would be great to invite families, but that's another whole other conversation. Once you have your team, this is what I would do. Present to them the following activities in order. So this is a full endeavor here. It may take a complete day. It may take large chunks of the morning and afternoon, or be a full half day, whatever you think. But here is the organization. Today we will do 3 things. Gather student experience data. So you're presenting your goals to the group. Identify trends across classrooms and determine next steps for instructional support. I always start with land acknowledgement and community agreements. And then I would say, what is our purpose? So for example, we might want to make sure that all students have opportunities to speak in every class. Or if they're not speaking, they're grappling and creating. So they're really digging in and doing some work for 75% of the class period. That's just a sample goal. And I pulled that from Shane Safier and Jamila Dugan's Street data, where they talk about pedagogy of student voice being 75% of class time students are speaking. So then I would co-create with the group. What should we try to observe? So you might look at specific classes, you might look at specific types of activities, and ideally you're kind of crowdsourcing, or you have a sense of teachers, what they're doing in those periods, what time their classes are, so you kind of have a schedule there, and maybe share that with the team and say, okay, so knowing this, like what are the look fors, listen fors, whatever. I'm trying to find a different non-ableist language to use there, but what are the ways that we can observe what's going on in the class from a student perspective? Maybe we would actually literally just ask the student, but that's teacher to teacher preference. We don't want to interrupt student learning, obviously. Then I would say, here are some examples of things we might be able to observe. Feeling wise, you're going to probably have to ask students this or make it an exit ticket, but these are just some ideas of what you might try to observe in a classroom if you need to present this to get them started on the brainstorming. Then I would practice using that list that you've created for things you want to observe, watching like a video. There's a ton of teaching videos online. You can record your own. You can ask teachers to submit whatever you think. I just linked one right there for you. That's on Vimeo. And then I would share the schedule with the folks in your group. So from this time to this time, we're in this class, which is focused on teaching this subject in this grade. And this is the room, right? Just give everyone kind of a sense. After you go into each room for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however long you determine you're going to be in there, you will do a quick huddle in the hallway. Everyone shares a quick notice, a quick wonder that is aligned to one of your observational goals or criteria. I like to use Post-it notes here. So I'll do like one Post-it note for something I noticed, one Post-it note for something I wonder. You could also use like glows and grows here, however you want to frame the activity, but just kind of a quick share right after. Then I would bring everyone together at the end of all the visits and say, let's share our collective successes. What went really well? You can also insert any sort of data analysis tool here that your community uses. And then you want to synthesize your takeaways. So based on this growth area or goal that we had, here is the next step for support that we think that educators might need, or students might need, and thus educators are going to need to implement something to help students with this thing. And then name a person in the group who is going to be responsible to lead this step. So it might be an instructional coach, but it also might be a teacher who's like, you know what, I'm going to try that practice out in my class, and I'm going to invite people into my class to observe it. So you kind of are building your action plan here. I would remind everyone about the community agreements as you start to have conversation and do that. And then I would close out the meeting with those action steps and just make sure everyone knows what they are doing. That's just one way you can gather student data, by literally just being in the experience with them, asking the students directly, doing some direct observation, and then bringing together with students who are in this learning protocol group that's moving around the school debrief, what did you experience? What is the data you collected? And then we make an action plan from there.